Hi, I'm Allison. This is Wonder Crochet, and today I'm going to be answering your questions. So first, if you would like to learn how to crochet, I have a full online course to teach you from the very beginning. You can check that out in the description. And also, I have merch out now. So if you'd like to sport one of these cute crocheting animals, these are linked in the description as well. So let's jump in. So I had a question box over on my Instagram to ask me anything. And these are really the most common crochet questions that I get asked. So let's go through. I have my iPad here with your questions. So I'll start with a question that I get asked most often, and that is, what yarn do I use? What's my favorite type of yarn? What yarn do I recommend? And I actually have a whole video on this that I'll link in this video, but I'll go over it again. The yarn that I use most often and my favorite type of yarn is Premier Parfait Chunky. It is a size 6 super bulky chenille yarn, so it's very soft. I find it easy to work with. If you're a beginner, you might find it a little bit difficult to see the stitches, but it comes in beautiful colors. So all of the yarns on this shelf here are all Premier Parfait Chunky. I know that you can only get this yarn in the US, so other yarns that are similar, Hobby Baby Snuggle yarn is very similar to this yarn, and I know that you can get that one internationally. Another similar yarn, but I think it might also be US based, is Michael's Sweet Snuggles light yarn. And that brings me into my next yarn that I use. Is for even bulkier of a project. This Sweet Snuggles yarn by Michael's. This is a size 7 jumbo yarn. I love this because it's really thick. It's really soft and you can make huge projects with it. For example, I made this giant mushroom. The pattern for this is in my shop. And this giant frog, the pattern for this is Curious Papaya. I'll link it in the description. Both of these I used Sweet Snuggles yarn. So as you can see, you can make really big projects with it and it's nice and soft. So those are the yarns that I use most frequently. If you prefer a medium yarn or a smaller yarn, this is controversial, I like the budget brands. Red Heart, Big Twist, any of those, anything that comes in a beautiful color. Some people really love high quality yarns, and I get it. We're on a budget here, and I love the just craft store acrylic yarns. The next question I have is, any tips for starting a small business? Yes. When you're starting a small business, the most important thing is to get your name out there. And that probably comes from, I actually have a background in marketing, but the easiest way to get customers is for them to find you. When you're starting a small business, you kind of want to give people a taste of what you're going to be selling before you even start selling it. You want to build that excitement before you even made your first product to sell. I recommend starting social media accounts for your business and posting pictures and getting your audience excited. The number one thing that you can do to market yourself right now is video content creation. So TikToks, Instagram Reels, posting videos on Pinterest. That's a great way to get your business started on the marketing side. All of the other things that go into starting a small business, if you're looking to start a crochet business, I really recommend starting on Etsy. There are upsides and downsides to starting on Etsy. They do have high fees, but when you're just starting out, it's really nice to not have to think about taxes for your business, of keeping track of your orders. Etsy does all of that for you, and you can buy your shipping labels right through Etsy. Once you start to really grow, build your business, then you can absolutely go another route. But when you're starting out, I really would recommend that. So get your name out there, find a platform that works well for you, and as cheesy as this sounds, enjoy it. Starting a small business can be a little bit scary, but it's a lot of fun to get to do something that you're passionate about. So make sure to always remember why you started it. Make sure that you continue to enjoy it. Make things that make you happy, and that will show in your work. If you're making things just because other people want you to make them, you can burn out pretty quickly. So make sure you budget your time well, and good luck. The next questions are, when did I start crocheting and what got me into crochet? So I started crocheting in January of 2020. So it was actually right before the pandemic hit. I was at a small local store that has a lot of I don't know how to explain this store. It has a little bit of everything, almost like a Marshall's. I found a crochet book that was specifically amigurumi, and I saw it and I was like, this is so cute. I've always liked cute things, as you can see from my room. I had been looking for a hobby, and this was kind of the perfect thing for me. I like making things with my hands. I had just never really dove into anything head first. So I bought the book, opened it up, realized I had no idea how to read a crochet pattern. So that kind of got me into it. Then the pandemic hit and my job was really winding down. So I was home a lot. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and just taught myself how to crochet. I think having so much time to be able to learn it really helped me learn it quickly. And I started a business about 6 months later. So now it's been almost 3 years of crocheting, and I'm not slowing down anytime soon. This is a fun question. How do you decide what to make? There's so many choices. It's so true. I have a whole list on my phone. Really, it's really long, of everything that I want to make or think I want to make. Anytime an idea pops into my head, I put it in there, and then I kind of just cross them off. It's a never-ending list. I keep adding to it. But there's also so many patterns from talented crocheters that I feel like I'm missing out on because I'm focusing on writing my own patterns. So I try to mix some of those in as well. It's usually when I feel like I'm starting to get burnt out that I'll do a pattern by someone else so that I can just follow it and enjoy it and not have to write down everything that I'm doing. But I just make what makes me feel happy at the time. Any TV shows or games that I like to make those characters. I like to make those as free patterns and share them. I've been doing a sweets collection, and I just made this one today. This is my ice cream cookie sandwich, but this is my favorite dessert, so why not crochet it? It's really just things in my daily life that give me inspiration for what to make and deciding on when I'm going to make them. I actually have a calendar of when I'm going to make everything, so I have it planned out for probably the next 2 months of what I'm going to make. But then if something inspires me more than something I have on the list, I'll replace it, or I'll just push something else to the next month. And I saved the best for last because I got asked this the most, and that is, how do you go about writing a pattern and how long does your process take? This is a hard one to explain instead of show. When I have something in my brain that I want to make, I'd like to have some type of reference photo for it. And this is just how my pattern writing process goes. Yours might be completely different. If I don't have a reference photo of it, then I'll draw it myself. When I wanted to make my frog backpack, I knew what I wanted in my head, but I didn't have any type of reference. I drew it on my iPad of how I wanted it to look. Then I was able to reference that when I was making my pattern. So when I start to make any pattern, and if you're just starting out making patterns, it's really important to know how to make certain shapes. So for the frog backpack, I knew that it was round, but a little bit longer. So I started to crochet in the round and started to create a circle and keep referencing it to kind of the size of how big I wanted it on my back. You can do that with any type of plush. So referencing, how big it's looking to turn out. And really you just write down everything that you're doing. It's really important when you're starting to get into pattern writing that you follow as many patterns as you can and not copy how others are doing their patterns, but just kind of see how others are explaining things, how they're organizing their process, and come up with your own process. If there's something that you want to make, try freehanding it. Not talking about copying other creators, but something that you come up with and you really want to do, freehand it and see if you really can make those shapes that you see in your head, or that you have drawn on a piece of paper, and write down that process. Then you'll start to build your own pattern writing process, organize that, and whenever it's ready, get testers for it. If you're brand new and you don't have a large following, I know on Ribbler there are pattern testing calls if you need people to test your patterns, and those people will give you feedback. Take that constructive criticism to make your pattern writing process better, and then, you know, when you're ready, then you can put that pattern out there. It is a long process to be comfortable writing patterns, be comfortable making things that you see in your head. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Really just start writing down everything that you're doing. After you write it, make it again, but make it again by following your pattern and make sure that it turns out the same. But I would really recommend drawing out what you want to do, writing it down. If you have a pattern writing journal, write what you want the shapes to be, the dimensions, all of that. And for how long my process takes, it really depends. It depends on how involved the project is, how excited I am to really make it and get it out there. So the pattern writing process can take anywhere from a couple days to months. So it really depends. The fastest that I've come up with something and written a pattern has been in a day, but that doesn't account for testing or anything like that. I hope that helps. So thanks so much for all your questions. If you have any others, leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. And give me a follow on Instagram. You can always message me with questions on there as well. So if you like what you see and you want me to do a part 2, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.